Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another video brought to you by SeniorCatWellness.com. If you enjoy today's presentation and find it informative, please feel free to subscribe to this channel, like the video, and share the content. Today's video subject: what causes a cat to throw up undigested food? Before we begin, let's first take a look at today's topic overview. Cats should be fed smaller amounts of food and be given time to rest after a meal. Feed your cat wet food, not dry food, as it won't swell up in the stomach. Don't feed cats cold food, as it'll be too difficult to digest. Increase your cat's fiber intake to clear any small intestinal blockages, and check for allergies to food or plastic bowls. Before we address the causes with respect to today's core topic, let's first briefly talk about the difference between regurgitation and vomiting. Not exactly an appealing topic, but hey, some things in this arena aren't exactly a cold drink on a hot day, if you know what I mean. Feline regurgitation is sudden. Your cat will open its mouth, and there you have it. There will typically be no symptoms. This is primarily because regurgitation happens in the esophagus and the throat. Food is expelled in this manner because it can't be swallowed. Regurgitated food often takes the shape of a cylinder or a tube. Vomiting takes place when the contents in a cat's stomach are expelled. This is the digestive tract rejecting food that has been consumed. This is why some symptoms are often apparent several seconds or even minutes prior. Pacing and heaving are common. Vomiting, for as unpleasant as it is common. Regurgitation, on the other hand, is not. This is why it's important to make this distinction. If your feline is bringing food back up that was never actually consumed, this is concerning. If your cat is regurgitating, some type of obstruction in the esophagus could be responsible. Inflammation of the esophagus, enlargement of the esophagus, a condition known as Addison's disease, the consumption of toxins, a neuromuscular disorder, and hyperthyroidism are all potential explanations as to why your cat is regurgitating and is unable to get food down. We advise you to take your cat to the vet if regurgitation has become a daily occurrence and your cat is unable to consume solids to any degree. Is your cat vomiting? Has it somewhat become routine? As with regurgitation, if your cat is vomiting after almost every meal and it's been this way for more than 24 to 48 hours, please contact a professional. Because while vomiting is indeed more common than regurgitation, frequent vomiting is concerning and could be the sign of a serious medical issue. If your pet is struggling in this fashion, here are a few potential reasons. Thankfully, many of the most notable issues can be resolved by simply taking a different course of action with your pet in terms of meal prep, food quantity, and the type of food that is served. First up, let's begin with eating to excess. This is common in animals and children. Heck, even adults will engage in this form of activity, if you will, from time to time. I think we're all guilty, I suppose. If your cat loves to put on the feed bag, too much consumption could lead to vomiting. Next, we have eating too quickly. Some cats are anxious eaters, especially if they reside in a multi-animal home. If there is a competition for food, or at least a perceived one, a cat could eat too fast and unfortunately become unwell not long after. Next, we have a change of diet or a change in the diet. New foods could give a cat some digestive woes, as felines have naturally sensitive stomachs. While mealtime transitions can certainly be made, it could come at a price, at least in the early going. Next, we have moving after eating. If a cat engages in some rather strenuous playtime activities not long after mealtime, this could result in a bit of an unpleasant outcome, if you will. A bit earlier, we mentioned children. Every parent likely knows this story all too well. Hey, don't go swimming after a meal. We've all heard that one, right? And we certainly know why. Next, we have cold food. If the food is a bit too cold, this can really do a number on a cat's stomach. This is especially true if they're used to having meals that are of room temperature. And next, we have allergies, and just like people, cats can suffer from food allergies. If a cat consumes foods, most notably new foods that contain some problematic ingredients, vomiting could be the result. And the final reason that we'll address today in respect to vomiting after a meal is gastrointestinal issues, just generally speaking. If a cat is a bit under the weather, or already struggling with other concerns, such as a fur ball, for example, it could be hard to keep the food down. And just to connect back with some of our prior points, this is yet another reason why it's so important and so vital to take your cat to the vet if vomiting becomes a regular occurrence that spans over the course of several meals and several days. Because while it could be just something as basic as eating too much and eating too fast, it could also be an intestinal blockage or a parasite. It's certainly better to be safe than sorry. When it comes to today's overall topic, more specifically this specific subsection, dry food is far more likely to trigger vomiting compared to wet meals. This is especially true if your pet has a sensitive stomach. Dry food takes longer to break down in the stomach. Dry food can also be very high in grain. Dry food cannot evade minor stomach blockages, and dry food also expands in the stomach. While small amounts of dry food are okay from time to time, wet food is much better with respect to proper digestion and helping to restore proper digestion if something is amiss. As cats age, wet meals become all the more important. When it comes to everything that was just noted in respect to dry food taking longer to break down in the stomach, how it often fails to evade or clean out blockages, and how it expands in the stomach, wet food can conquer those issues. In many ways, wet food could almost serve as a cleanser. And this is what your cat will need, as digestion will naturally become more difficult once your pet enters into those precious golden years. Wet food, good for that all important senior cat wellness. If you would like more information concerning today's subject matter, including independent and detailed sections dedicated to the reasons why cats can become unsettled after a meal, in addition to information on why some cats will refuse to eat at all after vomiting, and when it becomes so paramount and critical to see your vet, please click the initial link in the description box below for all of that important content and join us at seniorcatwellness.com. And once again, feel free to like and share this video and subscribe to the channel if this type of content is of interest to you. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you later.